Hi everybody, welcome back to our kitchen. Today I'm going to show you a vintage recipe that's been handed down for 3 generations. I ate it as a kid, my kids ate it growing up, and my grandchildren are enjoying it too. It's a simple recipe with very little ingredients, and it stretches a long way because it makes a lot. I need to show you what ingredients you're going to have to use. These are the ingredients that you need to use for this recipe. You need a tablespoon of onion, a tablespoon of red bell pepper or green bell pepper or any bell pepper you have, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Now, in retrospect, I want to show you how much that is. It's about 1/4 of an onion and a little piece of pepper. And if you don't have this in your vegetable bin, I always have some frozen. Thaw it out a little bit, take about a tablespoon out of there and put it in the recipe. Now I already cooked my ground beef. It takes 2 pounds of ground beef that you put the veggies and the spices in the beef while you're cooking it. If it's 80-20, which produces a little bit of juice in the bottom, or fat as they call it, you need to drain it before you mix this up. It calls for 15 ounces, or 6. It called for an original 15-ounce can of spaghetti sauce. Back then, everybody used Chef Boyardee, and you can't find it very much anymore in the stores. So I used 16 ounces, which is 2 cups of the Prego, and today I'm using roasted garlic and herb. It takes 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste, brand of your choice, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be Hunt's, and a pound of cheddar cheese. Now, I've used it with the cheese in the bag, which is fine for the bottom of the cheeseburger, but I prefer to grate my own because it melts better. It calls for mozzarella cheese, and I just shred this up to put in a plastic bag so I can use it to sprinkle on the top. It doesn't matter how much you use as long as you have enough to sprinkle on the top. I prefer the hard cheese because I used the fresh cheese one time and I couldn't even grate it up. I had to cut it up with a knife and it didn't melt right. This will melt. Now I'll show you what I'm going to do. I've grated up my cheddar cheese, and I'm going to add the pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce to that mixture, or to the cheese. And then I'm going to put the tomato paste, a whole can, in with the cheese. Now this step goes first because if your hamburger is still warm or hot, you don't want to mix it all together right away. And I've browned up my meat with the peppers and onions, and I did add a little bit of garlic to it because we like garlic, and back then people really didn't use garlic. It wasn't a thing. But you can use onion powder if you don't have onions, garlic powder if you need that little garlic in it, and then you mix it all into the same bowl. See how easy this is? And then I take a big spoon, because I need to mix this up, and start folding it in. You need to get it all incorporated. Now I have my oven heating to 500 degrees in the background. It takes a while, so I decided to start it early. 500 degrees is pretty hot, but I'll show you, when you make the burger, you're only going to put it in for 5 minutes. So that saves a lot of time if your kids are hungry, your husband's hungry, or you're hungry. Okay. Now I'm gluten-free. This is a gluten-free recipe. I couldn't make it dairy-free, I apologize. But I'm going to show you how to assemble these pizza burgers. And I usually use Udi's hamburger buns that you buy in the freezer section and the gluten-free section. But they didn't, neither store, one of my stores had them. Kind of limited here in northeastern Pennsylvania up into Pocono Mountains, so you go with what you can get. I decided to get an English muffin that's gluten-free by Canyon Bakehouse. And we're going to get a spoon and I'll show you how to put this all together. All you need is a little bit to spoon on here. Spread it out kind of thin because you're only in there for 5 minutes in the oven. And especially if this is cold. If you don't get it thin, it won't warm through. But this is room temperature, so this is going to do real good. I'll do the other side. This is mine. My husband uses his regular buns. And right on time, my oven's heated up. And I'll put the mozzarella cheese on top of this. And we'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. They just came out of the oven and they look beautiful. Look how the cheese, mozzarella cheese, is melted over the top. Underneath, the meat has warmed up to where it's supposed to be. The other cheese, the cheddar cheese, has melted. I put mine on first because I do not want to put his gluten buns on my foil. So I did my foil on the cookie sheet first, and then he gets to have his in a few minutes. I'm going to take a bite of this and see how it tastes. Crunchy, cheesy, just like eating a piece of pizza. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I'm going to put the recipe below in the comment box, and please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.